ओम देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्थितो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं हृदयकमलमध्ये राजमानं मुनीन्द्रं प्रणतजनसुधाब्धिं ज्ञानमार्गाग्रगण्यं ऋजुपददिशमाद्यं दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपं रमणगुरुवरेण्यं भावये बोधसूर्यं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् हृदन्तः सर्वेषां विलसति परो यश्चितिमयः स्वयं प्रत्यग्रूपो गणय रमणं तं सुखनिधिं द्रुते भक्त्या चित्ते सति हृदयगेहं गतवती स्फुटे प्रज्ञानेत्रे स्फुरति स निजज्ञानवपुषाम् अखिलस्य हृद्यनिशं स्वयं विलसन् अहं स्फुरणात्मगो मनुजात्मना प्रविभाति यः कृपया निजेष्वरुणाचले अघदर्शने परमालसं मधुरस्मितं रमणाभिधं तमजं शिवं परमं गुरुं मम दैवतं हृदि भावये। अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचला अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचला। We are in the 52nd verse. தோடமில் நீ அகத்தோடொன்றி சந்தோஷமொன்றிட அருள் அருணாச்சல. கரெக்டாக இருக்கு. We have already spoken elaborately about this verse yesterday. Dosham il this one word expresses whatever we want in life, in spiritual life. A seeker right from his spiritual blossoming, is germination, is beginning. First comes the resolution to attain God. Even for Bhagavan it was like that. First was, I want darshana. கருணையால் என்னை ஆண்டனி எனக்கு உன் காட்சி தந்தருளில்லை என்றால். I want your darshana. So that spiritual experience. So when you strive for that, naturally you are so much affected by the flaws. Shastras generally they say a seeker must have discrimination, dispassion, sense control, mind control. Even these four, when you hear, you will say goodbye. We are nowhere near. When you become aware of all the doshas, all the flaws in you, your body is not under control, your senses are not in order, the mind is not sufficiently quiet to inquire, there is no upasana samskara. Upasana means meditation on some form, some divine form of the Lord. Generally, Vedanta Shravana, according to our traditional people, becomes perfect when a devotee has already completed the devotional sadhana. He has perfectly meditated on his Ishtadevata. Not only that, he had Ishtadevata Sakshatkara. He has seen his Ishtadevata. So that divine form shines forth in his heart, and then he inquires, Nedam yadidam upasate. This form is not the ultimate truth. Who is the seer of this form? See, even with Bhagavan it was like that. The moment he heard the name Arunachala caught hold of him. Then after realization, he came rushing to Tiruvannamalai, and the moment he saw Arunachala, he asked, who is the seer? And you can see, even after realization, Bhagavan never left his Ishtadevata. All his life, generally, people ask, we are not going into any debate. Just I am telling you the traditional story that Shankaracharya, in all the 4 mutts, he gave Shivalinga. 4 mutts or 5 mutts, I don't know. Nobody knows. So just, we say Kanchi Mutt, they say is Moolamnaya Mata, and the other 4 but like that, so many opinions are there. So that nobody can say this is right, this is wrong. So this is all question of bhakti. So all these mutts, they have a Chandramaulishwara puja. And Shankaracharya, generally, when you start studying Vedanta and you meet these Matatipatis, an intellectual seeker will have this doubt, why they are doing this Bahya Puja. And if you subtly observe, Bhagavan Ramana was the greatest idol worshipper. His Shivalinga was such a huge form. And 54 years after his realization, day and night he worshipped that linga. See, this is not, I am not simply symbolically saying that. He literally worshipped. T.K. Sundareshwara Iyer used to say, Bhagavan will go up the hill and come back. When he is walking, you can see even in a video, Bhagavan coming down the hill, and you can see walking behind him a sweet figure, very feminine mannerisms. That is T.K. Sundareshwara Iyer. He himself was a sagely person. He was a school teacher of our president, Sundaranna, who was the president, and Ganeshana. Everyone has studied under him. They all considered him as a great saint. So he used to say, Bhagavan, when in the hill, he was completely absorbed. Sadhu Om Swami in one place has narrated, one day he was about to go from Tiruvannamalai to Tanjavur. He wanted to take leave of Bhagavan. So somebody told Bhagavan has walked up the hill. So he just went there. Generally no one is allowed. But somehow he went there. Very casually did a namaskaram and said, Bhagavan, I am going to Tanjavur. He said once or twice, then Bhagavan suddenly looked at him and he said, just ask, And he says, என்ன சொல்லுவோம், சிவ பூஜைக்குள்ளே கரடி பூந்துக்கிறதும். Tamil we say, when you are worshipping your beloved Lord, some terrible creature enters there. Like that, I felt like that, he says. Because Bhagavan was not here. He was in the transcendental. Always he is like that. But when he was in communion with Arunachala, you can see Aksharamanamala, his constant communion with Arunachala. So that absorbed state. And T.K. Sundareshwarayar himself says, even when he comes down and sits in the old hall, outside, near the well, he will be facing Arunachala. Sometimes they will put some mat to cover sunlight. TKS used to say that covers not only sunlight but covers sometimes Arunachala also. Otherwise, if Bhagavan looks at Arunachala from here, he will be lost. He will not then look at anyone else. He will be just lost. So that is worship. That is puja. So once you have that kind of puja murti, you don't need any other puja murti. So that was his state. So this is upasana. This upasana is done so that the mental flaws are removed. All the flaws in the mind happen because of attachment. And when you collect your attachment and put it on Lord, all other attachments fall off. Itara raga vismaranam. Bhagavatam says, Gopikas, they say, when we were attached to Krishna, all other flaws fall away. When you are attached to the real, when you are attached to God, all worldly things, they just drop off. So then all the doshas are removed. In this song, Bhagavan said, Ahattodu undri. Once you become one with him, the other. When light comes, darkness goes. When God enters your life, ignorance is removed. Attachment is removed. Selfishness is removed. Striving for worldly achievement, power is removed. You like solitude. You want to meditate, to be alone, to read divine scriptures, to do japa, to be in the company of saints. These are all the attributes that blossom in a seeker when flaws are removed. These flaws are no attachment. Even inside a satsanga you sit with mobile, flaw. That is dosham. You can see in temple, even in Bhagavan's Sannidhi, they do pradakshanam like this with a mobile. Such a vibrant place. You cannot catch hold of that, catch that vibrancy in mobile. And that few moments you lose it. When you go to Tirupati, few moments you see the Lord, at that time you hold the mobile like this, you are lost. So this is dosham. Dosham means the mind intrudes. The mind operates. It makes images, sankalpa. It breeds desires, ego, pride, jealousy, aversion, attachment. These things are called dosha. So naturally, when you do yoga sadhana, you want to be free of all these flaws. And you strive and strive and strive. Ultimately, you find they are not so easy. Gaudapadacharya says, trying to remove all the flaws from one's personality, he is giving an upama, a drishtanta, simile. It is like taking a grass, darbha, and with that darbha grass, you take a drop of ocean water and put it in the shore. Like that, when can you dry the ocean? Like that, we are trying to remove all the flaws, all the flaws. All the flaws, faults, evil tendencies will go only by the descendants of grace. By coming in contact with the Lord, by our own effort, maximum what we can do is ultimately we will understand we are powerless. I am nobody. Then a hard-hearted person will shed tears. Then only tears will come. It is just you again go to babyhood. The first act that you did when you came to this earth is what? You did not even a greatest bhakta came out with Vishwam Vishnurva Shatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. No. Not even in the greatest Vedic family a child is born with Namaste Rudra Manyava Uto Taishave Namaha. It is not possible. It all comes with quack, 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 quack. Screaming, weeping, And that is the most natural, genuine expression of the soul. Kanneeratru Azhivena Arunachala. Bhagavan says, Bhagavan is challenging Arunachala. He is threatening Arunachala. He says, if you are not going to bless me, if you say you have this flaw, that flaw, two things Bhagavan says. One thing is, I will weep and my tears will flow like a river. And the second thing Bhagavan says is, you have a good name now. I will see to it that whole thing is gone. Nattathun agumun paliye. You will have a bad name, and that bad name will be kept as a monument, like Ashoka pillar. After thousands of years, they will say, this is Arunachala's Nattathun Pali. Bad name. Because such a devotee came, he became a spiritual aspirant, ultimately he failed. Manikyavachakar also, he is threatening Parameshwara, he is threatening Shiva and says, if you are not going to shower your grace on me, you know what I will do? Chiripippan. I will make all people laugh. Hey, such a useless fellow, they will say. I will behave like that, and if they ask, who are you? Whose devotee you are? Then I will tell, Uttarakoshamangaikaras, the Ramanathapuram, that Parameshwara, Uttarakoshamangai, that Shiva, I am the devotee of him. Then what will they say? That Lord is powerless, they will say. So your name is at stake. So this is, we say it's like a Nindastuti, but this all gives us a clue how to converse with the Lord. And conversing with the Lord means what? Conversing with your own Antaryami. That is the new language that we have to develop in spiritual life. With no Sanskrit or English or Tamil, you can speak with the soul, with the inner being, with the heart. Tears is the expression that first you have learnt the language of the inner being. And that language opens new dimensions. Then the Lord will from within remove all the flaws. Doshamil ahattil. The heart has no dosham. Dosham il ni ahattodu ondri endrum santosham ondrida arul arunachala. In the heart there is no flaws. Once your mind goes and abides in the heart, it disappears in the heart, all the flaws are gone. All the evil tendencies are removed, because I don't exist, only He exists. As long as this I exists, I cannot exist without flaws. It exists with body awareness, it exists with mind, it exists with intellect, it exists with senses. It is made of all these limbs. It cannot exist as pure consciousness. So once it is erased, all the doshas are removed, then what happens? Santosham. Then comes Santosham, real happiness. Another name for it is Ananda. The Upanishad says Ananda. Anando Brahmeti Vyajanat. That is the ultimate finding of the sages. What is Brahman? It is Ananda. It is bliss. Bliss doesn't mean dancing, excitement. It means peace. It means Shanti. Amaidi, Nimmadi. It is peace, peace. The peace of the self. That is what everybody felt in Bhagavan's presence. That Shanti. In his presence, naturally the mind subsided. In his presence, everybody smelt the divine fragrance of Shanti. The whole Vedic teaching is filled with Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So Shanti is Shiva, Shanti is Arunachala. Arunachala means what? Shanti. And the only teaching that we need is how to be peaceful. The whole Bhagavad Gita concludes with Shanti. Krishna says, surrender to the Lord who is in your heart. If you surrender, what will happen? You will get Shanti, peace. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati. O Arjuna, Ishvara is residing in the heart space of everyone, every creature. Tameva sharanam gaccha. See, there is an eva. Eva means only. You have to surrender only to that inner being. That means what? You should not surrender to anything else. Surrender means you will take order only from him. You will listen only to him. That means you wait and wait and wait till the inner being speaks. That is the mark of all the sages. They will not easily answer you. If you question them, they will wait, they will wait, they will wait till the inner being, the inner voice opens up. They will not take any decision till the inner voice gives consent. That inner voice is the language of the divine. Bhasha Rupa. Lalita Sahasranama says, there is a strange bhasha. O Divine Mother, you are that language by which the inner one conveys. The inner one conveys the message. So that is the bhasha, and that bhasha is Lalita Parameshwari. She is Divine Mother. So that Divine Mother has already, she is residing in you as the conveying force, conveying power of the self. So that force only, with that force only a Jivan Mukta works in the world, not with the mind, not with the outer knowledge, not with thinking. Thinking will be there, but not by thinking. By the other force. Till that language happens, all our decisions are sure to be with faults, cannot be perfect. That is why we have a tradition to ask about such things to great sages. And truly great sages, they will not, if the answer is not forthcoming, they will say nothing is coming. They will not answer. So that is not our subject here. Santosham, that is our subject here. Santosham. Santosham means happiness. And that Santosham comes when you surrender to the inner being. When you say, Bhagavan, I am nobody, I do not know anything. You are Sarvajna, you are all-knowing, you are the guiding power. I am just an instrument in your hand. Ramakrishna used to say, Divine Mother is the operator, I am the machine. I am the instrument. She is operating. She is making me dance. I am just a wooden doll. She is pulling the thread from behind and I dance according to her will. So that will alone matters. Then santosham comes. Dosham is ego. Santosham is egolessness. Dosham is self-will. And santosham is the moment you drop the self-will, the moment you drop assertion, the moment you are free of this fault, anava malam, this I, this assertion. The moment that disappears, you are like a soft flower. You are like a Ishasya hi vashe lokaha yosha darumayi yatha. Bhagavatam says, everybody is a doll in his hand. He is making it dance. English la enna solva adukku bommalatam, puppet show, like that. We are all like puppets, and he is pulling the thread from behind. So once we know the one and only fault goes, if that fault goes, all the flaws are removed. The Moola Vidya, the primal error is considering oneself as the doer, oneself as the enjoyer. When that dosha is removed, Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. To Arjuna he says, you be just an instrument, I will do it. That is the beauty, Bhagavatam, there is a side story in the commentary. One Gopika, she is asking Krishna's flute. She is having a conversation with Krishna's flute. And she is asking, in Sanskrit, the flute is called Venu. And she asks, oh Venu, Krishna is always holding you in his hand. And such melody happens through you. Such music flows through you. And he always keeps you in his hip or in his hand or in his mouth. Never leaves you. While he often leaves us and goes away, we are separated. What is the tapas that you did? And that Venu, that flute said, oh Gopika, just look inside, nothing is there. I am hollow. Nothing is inside. When you will become hollow like me, then you will become holy. When you become hollow, then you will truly become holy. Because the Holy One, the Sacred One will work through you. His power will flow through you. His music will happen through you. But suppose the musician wants to play a song. He wants to play some some Gopika Geetam, some Arunachala Shiva. He wants to play in the flute Arunachala Shiva. And the flute decides, today I am going to sing a cinema song. What will that musician do? He will break the flute. If it has self-will, so the self-will, this ego is our sole problem. Lord is molding us, but we the flute have a separate individual. That is why often we get hit. The moment we cease to have this kind of will and surrender, param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. Bhagavan says in Gita, you will have shanti, and one more thing he adds, sthanam prapsasi. You will locate a spot inside you which is shashvatam sthanam, which is eternal spot, which is the heart center. The moment your mind comes in contact with that center, shantim prapsasi. Real shanti will come to you. And that shanti is Jivan Mukti, shanti is Jnanam, Shanti is self-knowledge. Shanti is Mukti. Shanti is Shiva. And that Shanti is the real nature of your self. So that is Santosham. Once you touch that Shanti within you, once you experience that Shanti within you, Santosham will come. And that Santosham is the mark of a yogi. Bhagavata, the great grandfather of Krishna, he was also a king. Yadu. He was moving on the bank of a river. So many people were there. Suddenly, amidst them, he noticed a young person, very healthy, very handsome, radiant, playing with children. And from the distance, he looked and understood the marks and found here is an enlightened being, not an ordinary person. He is a mighty spiritual being. And then this king, Raja, goes there and asks him, Swami, please give me Upadesha. Please reveal to me what is the secret of your Ananda, secret of your bliss. Bruhi Atmani Ananda Karanam. And you are Sparsha Vihina. You are untouched by anything. You are amidst the crowd. You are moving with everyone, but you are never touched by anything. You are totally free of any flaws. What is the secret behind this? How is it possible? And then the whole episode is Dattatreya gives the teaching. But how did this king find out the sage? He found the sage because that sage was the only person amidst that crowd who was happy. Even this king, this emperor, he was not happy. Real happiness he found there. How did devotees find Ramana Bhagavan? How did they find him? It is not simply because he wears only lion cloth. For a matter of fact, information, during Bhagavan's time, most of the farmers, most of the village people were wearing only lion cloth. One British man who was at that time British rule, no? So I don't know whether I can narrate this, but just an incident which happened. One of the freedom fighters, very well known freedom fighters, was taking a British man through Tirunelveli district. And there in a farm, paddy field, he saw all the farmers wearing only a loin cloth. Nothing, no other, because they were so poor. So this British man asked that freedom, later on he became a freedom fighter. At that time he was working with the British office. His name was, I think, Subramaniam or something. I don't remember exactly. We will keep it as Subramaniam. So he asked Subramaniam, what kind of dress is this? What he meant was, this is indecent, only a little bit of cloth, nothing they are wearing. What kind of dress is this? You know what that Subramaniam told? Sir, you don't know. This is Indian tie. Tie? You wear it there? Yes, sir. We started it wearing there. You only started wearing it in your neck. We were wearing it only there. And you started using it in the neck. And then he kept quiet. So that is the story. So Bhagavan was not found because he was wearing only a loin cloth. Bhagavan, even if Bhagavan wore shirt and pant, he will be Bhagavan only. Because, see, I used to feel, even if Bhagavan would have stayed in Madurai itself, people would have identified him. How can you hide a Brahmajnani? He has attained full jnana while he was in Madurai. And Arunachala pulled him, kept him near him. Because Arunachala likes to collect all the gems, all the diamonds, and keep it in his lap. So that is what Arunachala did with Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan, that state cannot be hidden. And how did people, even animals, creatures understood it? By that happiness, santosham. See, if you just decide to be santushta, you will attain God realization. You need not do any sadhana. Today you take a resolution. From today onwards, whatever destiny may bring in my life, whatever may happen, let anything happen, I will be santosha, content, happy. There were saints like that. In China they used to say, in China, just remember, see, the most uncongenial area, there were saints, they were called laughing saints. Always blissful, and people, whoever went near them, they used to get, it was contagious. They will start laughing. You can see such saints even now also. They will blissfully laugh. So much of bliss comes out of them. Swami Ramdas was like that. Many saints were like that. So Bhagavan's presence was Shanti. Certain other saints, it will be bliss, outer expression. Some difference will be there. But that is all according to their nature. But the essence, the center is Santosham. Tripti. Vidyaranya Swami says, Samadhi, realization means Tripti, contentment. Contentment. You feel satisfied. I want nothing. I don't want anything from the world. Let world bring anything. Sir, you can take a resolution, sankalpa, and to be happy. And one more thing you have to add. I don't want anything. I will not beg for anything. It is not that if I get this, I will be happy. It will be difficult. If I get self-realization, I will be happy. Very difficult. Because, first of all, you do not know what self-realization is. Then how will you be happy? You put the reverse. The Upanishad says, desireless. Totally desireless. Ready to serve, ready to help, just a normal nobody. You erase yourself, cease to exist. Bhagavan uses the word in Ulladinarpadu, Yan kettu tannilayil nitral talai. That I must be completely annihilated. It is removed. Nobody, I am nothing. There was a saint here who always used to say, I am nothing. If you go and ask him teaching, I do not know anything. That was his Mahavakya. Because when he asked Bhagavan to give him some teaching, he saw scholars discussing with Bhagavan profound scriptures. After those scholars went away, he went to Bhagavan. Bhagavan, they are all discussing very, very profound thing, but I am an unlearned fool. I do not know anything. Then Bhagavan said, you know that you do not know anything. That is sure? Yes, Bhagavan. Keep it like that. That was his Mahavakya. And all his life he used to say, Enakku onnum theriyadu. But will be happy. So, catch hold of that, santosham. See, we have to meditate it like that, In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Santushtas Satatam Yogi. Who is a true devotee? Krishna says, he is ever santushta, always happy, always content. No complaint about anything. He will be always happy. There were two devotees of Bhagavan like that. One was Mudaliyar Party, another Ramanatha Brahmachari. Bhagavan used to say, I am afraid of those two. Because whatever they might ask, I have to do. But they will not ask. They will serve. They will do whatever is necessary, they will serve, they will toil, but they will not ask even from God. And God feels indebted to them. Ishvara feels indebted to them. So that is the thing. So here Bhagavan says Santosham Ondrida Arul Arunachala. Even if you do not take the first line, second line is enough. Santosham Ondrida Arul Arunachala. Arunachala, bless me that I will be always Santosha. Real Tosha means content. Santosha means Samyak Tosha. You have perfect jnana, and with the power of that jnana, you have found tripti, contentment. You are satisfied. You don't want anything. That is the greatness of a great devotee in Bhagavatam, Kuchela. He was called Kuchela. Kuchela means one who is wearing a dirty cloth. And Bhagavatam says, Krishnasya asit saka kashit. Krishna had a friend. The story begins like that. And who was he? Brahmano. That one word is enough. Brahmana means a Jivan Mukta, a Jnani. So he was a Brahmana. Not the caste Brahmana. Brahmavittamaha, supreme knower of Brahman. Brahmano Brahmavittamaha. Not only, he was a householder, he was a family man. Yet, even though he was a family man, Viraktaha Indriyartheshu, he was dispassionate towards all sensual pursuits, sensory pursuits. Prashantatma, always peaceful. Jitendriya, his senses were all controlled. Yadrichayopalabdhena vartamano grihashrami. Although he was a grihashrami, a family man, he led a very contented life by whatever little he got. He was happy. So that Santosha, Bhagavan sometimes used to say, I always like people who are content, who are Santushta, who don't ask for anything, desire for anything. There lies the spiritual secret. So Santoshamundrida Arul Arunachala. Swami Vivekananda, in his commentary on Yoga Sutra, he says, a real devotee is a person who is always happy. And when Vivekananda went to America, he had contact with many Christian priests. And Swami Vivekananda was also very well versed in Bible and Christian theology. And he always used to carry Imitation of Christ, that book, in his hand. He liked it very much. So many of them had a debate with him, dialogue with him. But ultimately they found that he knows more Christianity than them. And he is not against any religion. So many of them were friends. But they had an idea that a religious person should be very, very serious. He should have a melancholy face. Face should not be very blissful, happy. So one day they found Swamiji playing with children, laughing, telling stories, playing with children. So one Christian priest who was very close with him, he said, Swamiji, they used to call him with various names, Vivekananda, that name they could not pronounce. So they used to, we have Viv, that is a common epithet in America. So Viv Kananda, so they used to call him as Kananda. And some used to call as Swamiji. Bengalis they used to call like that. So this Christian friend, he said, Swamiji, you should not laugh like this. You should be very serious. You know, you are a religious person. You should not laugh like this. Then Vivekananda said, my dear sir, I will be serious when stomach pain comes. It very often comes to me when I eat food here. So when stomach pain comes, I will be serious. Otherwise, why should I be serious? We are all children of immortal bliss. You know, our sages have called us not sinners. Amritasya putraha. Shrinvantu vishve amritasya putraha. Aye dhamani divyani tastuhu. Vedahametam purusham mahantam. Then he said, I have come to know that splendorous being. I have drunk from that potion. This is a very beautiful sentence. I like it very much. You know, I have drunk from that potion which makes world a zero, logic nothing, man God. I have drunk from that potion which makes the world a zero and logic nothing, man as God. So that was his statement. So the bliss, when that santosha comes, that is the real mark of a saint, a sage. So that with that santosha only, even Vivekananda, when he went to West, people found him. Even when he was sitting in that Chicago assembly, many found that it's a strange being. Ramakrishna said he is not an ordinary human being. He has descended from some other plane for a work. So that makes a difference, you know, that bliss, that santosha. When that santosha is there, even animals and birds will recognize. Toshamil நீ அகத்தோடு ஒன்றி சந்தோஷம் ஒன்றிட அருள் அருணாச்சல. You can read it தோடமில். Generally Tamil they will read தோடமில் நீ அகத்தோடு ஒன்றி சந்தோடம் ஒன்றிட அருள். But it will not make sense easily. That is the way it should be pronounced, but the meaning will not come out easily. But if you read it தோஷமில் நீ அகத்தோடு ஒன்றி சந்தோஷம் ஒன்றிட அருள் அருணாச்சல, meaning will easily come. You will understand. Those who understand Tamil and Sanskrit, a little bit of Sanskritam, they will understand the meaning. So Santosham is the message. Next song, Bhagavan says, you know, when you start spiritual life, generally it's very strange. You go to some bookshop. Many Westerners come here. Most of them, they come here. Now they go to the internet and find Ramana Maharshi teaching something like that. Formerly they used to go to some bookstall, take some book, Gospel of Ramana Maharshi or Sacred Path, Search in Secret India of Paul Brent, and something they will take and read, and they all rush to India. And when they come here, you know, they have an idea, a plan, a fixed plan. So many months we will stay, come back as Ramana Maharshi. Go as John or whatever, Tom or somebody, and come back as Ramana Maharshi, enlightened being. Then naturally thousands will be behind me giving initiation. Then ultimately when they find realization is not so easy, at least we will become teachers. So that happens like that, you know. So they all come to Tiruvannamalai or Rishikesh or Haridwar with so much bhavana. That is a very sweet state. I am not making fun of it. It's a very, very spiritual state, because when you have that bhavana, that spiritual dream, you know, that dream is a forerunner of actually realization. It certainly proves that you are soon going to arrive. If you do not arrive in this birth, that is because of flaws. But certainly you have started the journey. Because of that only you are able to dream God, you are able to dream realization, you are able to dream spiritual life. So that has started. Sometimes because of your prarabdha, you are not able to be successful in this life, does not matter. But that dreaming, with that dreaming you come. And you do all circus. Do go to this guru, read this book, do this sadhana, pranayama, not eating or too much eating. Everything you do all kind of practices. And one Westerner, he wrote, ultimately when I was coming here to get realization, I was so proud that I just threw away the world. I felt everything is just nonsense. With so much pride I came, and when all my family people, friends, they advised me not to do this, I told them, you are all worldly people, you are going to get bound in this world, will go to hell. I will attain realization and come back. And after 6 or 7 years, he says, one day I looked at the mirror. I felt I am a buffoon. I thought I am going to become some big person. Like the picture of Buddha or Ramana, something will be there, attractive. But ultimately for me, I became a laughing stock. There was a Swami in Kerala. One sadhaka went to him and told, Swamiji, see, we started doing spiritual sadhana. And all of you, the Swamis, you all encouraged us, and we left everything. We have burnt our boats and did so much sadhana. Now we are in such a state we can neither go back nor front. That Swamiji said, very beautiful. It's a very interesting state. You know, we Swamis have only one work. What we will do, you know, this coconut tree, you know, it will go straight, no branches, very tall. So it is very difficult to climb a coconut tree. So in villages there is a play. They will ask those who do not know how to climb coconut tree, they will say, climb, I will help. And help him up to reach the middle point. And they will say, I will go to house and come. And he will stay there. Neither can he come down, nor can he go up. And the Swami said, this is a wonderful state. You were so proud, you know, when you were in the world. So much ego, I can achieve, I can attain, I know this, I know that. Now you look at yourself and feel buffoon. At least that is a good realization. You have reached a state where you know that you are nobody. Now in this manure. In this good manure, the crop of illumination, spiritual experience can come. First you have to reach there. So next song, Bhagavan says, Nagai kidamilainin nadiyayanai arul nagai ittu parni arunachala. I have so many flaws. And with these flaws, when I come to you, Arunachala, you are making fun of me. You are laughing at me. I have become a laughing stock. And this is not good. Nagai kidamilainin. This is no occasion to laugh at the stupidity of distortion of gunas imagined by me. So many flaws are there in me. I am imagining so many flaws. This is due to ignorance. But see, such a pitiable, sympathetic creature I am. I have left everything. I have taken refuge in you. I do not know how to live in the world. In such a state, if you make fun of me, You say you have this bad quality, that bad quality, okay, everything is there. What will I do? Where will I go? Arul nagai ittu par ni Arunachala. And Bhagavan says, see, I will tell you one village advice. This is a common village practice. In Brahmin villages that is known, very rarely some Brahmin will be a rich person. All distorted history everybody is giving. Brahmins were all rich. This is a very wrong story. Nobody is there to speak on behalf of Brahmins. They were not at all rich. Only after this British coming, studying English, they also started becoming rich. Otherwise, formerly they were very poor. Because they cannot work also, they cannot earn also, only whatever comes from others. So you can see in the Puranas also, they were all very poor. That is why they were all respected also. If they were rich, naturally this jealousy will come. Envy will come, everybody will find fault with them. But formerly they were very, very poor. So in those days, some rich Brahmin family, they had a girl. And that girl was not beautiful. Her color was not good. Her appearances was not good. Appearance was not good. Every lakshana, every mark was bad. And they asked for the hand of a very learned Brahmin boy. Very scholarly, very handsome boy, but very poor family. So that boy's family, they were very interested because this girl's family, they were very rich, very prosperous. So that boy said, that girl is not good, not looking good. Then, you know what they said? You put lot of gold in her body, then she will look good. Nagai ittu par. You put lot of jewelry, then she will look good. It's all mere greed, But they were very poor. What is there in marriage? You put lot of jewelry, everything will be good. You will also become rich. Bhagavan is using that example here. He is telling Arunachala that you say so many flaws are in me, in the devotee. But if you put jewelry of grace on my neck, you will see me beautiful. All the flaws are seen in me because of lack of grace. You have not revealed your grace, that is why all my distortions are seen by you. These distortions will no more appear to be distortions, perversions, if you adorn me with the ornament of your grace. So, Arul Nagai Ittu Par. Just like a challenge. He says, you just adorn me with the garland of grace, jewelry of grace. Then you will find that I am a deserving person. So, see, in whatever way you have to awaken, invoke the Lord to Shai Ittu Parni, Nagai Kidamilainin. Do not make fun of me. Do not make me a laughing stock. See, in spiritual life, if I fail, if I become a laughing stock in this world, it is very sad. All that flaws will go if you reveal your grace to me. If you bestow your grace on me, then I will be free, O Lord. So, Arul Nagai Ittu Par Ni Arunachala. So, Nagai Kidamilai, we can also say to Bhagavan, please do not make fun of us. We are all worldly people, family people. So many problems are there, so many things to be done. With all that we have come here. So nagaikidamilai. You should not make fun of us. Don't say that we are not sincere, we are not genuine. See, you can see, during Kartikeya Deepam or every Paurnami, so many people come and go around the hill. I've seen women coming from Chennai, they come by bus, do Giri Pradakshinam, and by morning they return to Chennai and go to office. Cook food in the house and go to office. And they are all family people with so much responsibility, so much problems. The spiritual longing is there in them. Sometimes even sannyasis do not have that. Sometimes I feel ashamed. Such resolution, such sincerity, such devotion, when such things are there, we feel ashamed. When we see some true, genuine sadhaka, then we will know we are nagaikidam. We have to reach that state. Otherwise, I am a great person, this will be there. So, a state comes when you laugh at yourself. When you laugh at yourself, that is a good state. You are not boasting, bragging about you. You are not thinking highly about you. In Gita, the divine qualities, Devi Sampat, when Bhagavan says, the first quality is Amanitvam. Amanitvam, Adambitvam. Amanitvam means unassuming. Not, see, people, especially when in spiritual life they come, there is a usage in English, they feeling of grandeur, delusion of grandeur. Suddenly you feel you are an avatara Purusha. You feel you are so great because you have chosen this path. That is a very sad state. When we think we are much above others, much greater than others, it is a very sad state. Especially for a seeker. The moment that mana comes, you will yourself find that the inner stream is blocked. You will be no more, you will be able to strive, you will not able to do even japa or meditate, you can act. But a real spiritual current will not happen. That mana will block that inner stream. That inner stream will be blocked. So Bhagavan says Amanitvam, just. That is why devotees, they surrender, they do namaskara to everybody. They do namaskara to everyone. Fall at the feet of everyone. That's called Vaishnava Dharma. In Shaiva also, when Jnanasambandar went to see Trinavukarasar, Jnanasambandar was just 6 years old. And Trinavukarasar was a great saint who was 80 years old. When Jnanasambandar went into that city, he inquired, where is Appar? Where is Trinavukarasar? And you know where that saint was? That saint was also bearing that palanquin, where that child saint was going. He said, I am here. This servant is here. That 80-year-old saint was bearing that palanquin. And suddenly that boy saint, the child saint, he came down and said, oh father, he called him father, Appar, you are bearing this palanquin? You are chosen by Shiva. And Trinavukarasar said, yes, I am, Lord, choose me, but when? I am 80 years old, you are 6 years old. Where is your jnana and where is mine? So, that somehow that pride, that arrogance, that must be just brushed out. Otherwise, there was one saint in Thiruvannamalai, Guhai Namashivayar, he wrote, till that ego nut is grinded, Arunachala will again and again catch hold of you, put you in the grinder of suffering. He will just grind you and make the ego dust, remove the ego. For that only he just pulls you and puts you back in the grinder of suffering. So when we suffer, we deserve it. When something happens in our life, we deserve it. That is for our good. It is for our spiritual good. We have done something wrong. We have to remove that flaw, that dosham from our heart. That cannot be done by our personal spiritual practice. Our sadhana, our japa, our upasana, our devotion, all will help to understand that Lord is working through us. It is He is grinding us. He is purifying us. That is in Aksharavanamale Bhagavan says, Takiye Pakuvamaki. He gives you a hit. He grinds you. He gives you suffering so that you will become pure. When you become sufficiently pure, you deserve to be chosen by Him. You are ready, mature enough to receive His light. So till then, Nagai Kidam. We are in a state where we are fools. Lord's laughter, no? Jana unmadakari, hasaha tasya jana unmadakari cha maya. Bhagavata says, sometimes Lord laughs. Ramakrishna used to say, when pride comes to you, Lord laughs. When a person says, I will help you, Lord will laugh. That is His laughter. Jana unmadakari cha maya. His laughter, His hasa, is, Bhagavata says, when Lord laughs, you will become deluded. In Krishna's story, you can constantly, very often see, the moment he laughs, the other person will forget. Kunti said, Krishna, you are Vishnu. You are Narayana. Why are you deluding me? And Krishna just laughed. Kunti forgot. Jana unmadakari chamaya. He used to, his laughter is maya. His laughter is the great deluding power, the great saving power. Everything is His laughter. So, here Bhagavan says, Arunachala, please do not laugh at me. Shiva has that kopa, that anger, that is also a spiritual weapon. Ishvara's kopa. That kopa, that anger, is what the entire Vedic literature worships. Before worshipping the Lord, Vedas say, we bow to your anger. Namo namaste rudramanyava utota ishave namaha. First, namaskara to your anger. Then, namaskara to your weapon. You can see that weapon very well operating in your life. Then only you will understand what that weapon is. That thunderbolt, that shula, that dhanu, that bow, that arrow, everything you will see. You should have that vision to see that. Then you will see. So, Nagai Kidamilainin, O Lord, please do not laugh at me. Nin Nadiyayanai, I have approached you. At least I have chosen to be your devotee. That much I have done. If you ask whether you have become devotee, no, far from it. I have not reached anywhere. Even great saints, they say, I am nowhere. We have not reached anywhere. We are not able to listen to satsanga. We are not able to do japa. We are not able to meditate. What can we claim? This Margari, that month of Margari, the entire month is for devotion. And devotees will wake up by long before dawn, 4 o'clock, 3:30, and wake up all other devotees, go and take a dip in cold water in ponds, and then worship Shiva or Vishnu. That is the common practice. And in Tiruvachakam you can see devotees, all women going and waking up another woman. Say, wake up, wake up. You have to love your Lord. Instead of that, you have fallen in love with the bed. Wake up. Adiyum antamum illa arul perum jyotiyam paadakketeyum. We are all singing about that Shiva who has neither beginning nor end, that Arul Perum Jyoti. And you know, they all came with all bhasma, with Rudraksha, with Bhakti, and this lady is lying in her bed asleep, and they woke her up and said, see, you told us yesterday that you will come and wake us up. And now we have come like this. And she woke up with a shock and looked at them. They are all with divine marks, with devotion. She sits in her bed and weeps. And she, seeing her weeping, oh Lord, I am lost. They all have gained you, I have not reached anywhere. See, I am lying in this bed, a lazy creature. And seeing her weeping, the devotees, you know, they feel, oh, she is much more devoted than us. So this month is so special, you know. Generally, devotees will go to ashram, see Abhishekam in front of Bhagavan by 4 o'clock, 4:30. Everyone will sing Tiruvambavai, and from Sannidhi Murai, Ramana Tiruvambavai and Tirupalli Ezhi, everything they will sing in front of Bhagavan, Samadhi, Sannidhi, and chant Vishnu Sahasranamam, then Aksharamana Male, then you get lot of Pongal. Then all morning meditation will go. You eat it, sleep comes. But that devotional culture, you know, that devotion, when that comes, when you see devotion in others, you feel, I am lost, I am nowhere. That feeling is a good feeling in Bhakti Marga. Then only you really weep to the Lord. Nagayittu Parni. Adorn me with the ornament of devotion. Make me do japa. Make me read the scriptures. Make me associate with saints. Let me shed tears hearing your name. Let me stay in solitude. Let me not fall into worldly things, O Lord. This is Arul. This is grace. If He showers, reveals His grace, our spiritual life blossoms. Then real tapas, real austerity happens. As Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni asked, no, he was a great austere being. Then what did he mean by asking Bhagavan, what is tapas? It means tapas is a state. It is not something that you do. It is a plane. Bhu, Bhuva, Suva, Maha, Jana, Tapa. It's the sixth plane. The yogic plane is the tapas satyam. The seventh, in 7 planes, it is the 6th plane. When you are attuned to that plane, a state uncovers in you. There is incessant creativity. There is incessant energy flow. There is incessant egolessness. There is incessant devotional striving. Everything happens naturally. That state is not happening. Hence, Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni asked Bhagavan, Bhagavan, what is tapas? Then Bhagavan said, find out where from the I arises. If you seek the I deep within you, the I will merge in the heart, and that is tapas. Actually, that answer Bhagavan gave, but before that, through his mauna, through his tapas shakti, he just transmitted tapas into him. Then only he gave verbal answer. So verbal answer is only secondary. Real answer is Bhagavan himself. That we will see tomorrow. The next verse we will see tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala.